this particular day, we're going to confront the truth behind the future of elections, even as we head to 2027 elections. Now, can blockchain technology actually end rigging in our elections? Helping us with that particular conversation is Ambassador, Bishop, and Senior Pastor John C.W., who will be going to share his insights in regards to this particular matter. So start engaging us on our socials at EBN TV Kenya. That is on Facebook. We're live on Facebook and as well as on YouTube. And you can as well send us your feedback through our SMS line, that is 23059.
Thank you so much, Ambassador John C.W.
Thank you
for letting me speak with EBN television. Now let's talk about matters to do with elections. We've seen how elections have been held over the years. Leaders of elections actually say that the elections were not fair, free and transparent, and the citizens say they don't trust elections anymore. What exactly are they rejecting? Is it the transparency, the institutions, or the people running them?
This is not necessarily a Kenyan problem. It's an African problem spilling out to the globe, where you find that the purpose of an electoral body, whichever nation it is transition. To transition from what was to what currently should be. And so because of that, there is a lot of interest from the political divide, there is a lot of interest from the religious divide, there is a lot of interest from the citizens of that nation at the same time, because this body is tasked with the sole mandate of making sure that the right people that the people have elected, not that the people they want, not the people the IEBC want, the people that the people themselves have elected sit in those offices. So it's a very vital organ of a nation. That's number one. So looking at it from that point of view, historically speaking, there has been a lot of malpractice when it comes to the electoral system. I mean, think about nations like Uganda. You saw the other day, internet is shut down, Tanzania, internet is shut down. Then you clearly see that the will of the people has not been given an opportunity to be voiced out. So in boiling it down to the IEBC, which is the electoral system body of Kenya, it is very important to understand that this wars will continue as long as transparency is not part of the program. People will always have a problem with the IEBC anytime there is no clear transparency of what is happening. Talk about the Form 34As, talk about the Form 34Bs and other particular things. And so when you look at it from that, I don't know whether it's time to answer, but when you look at it from that point of view and study Article 1 and Article 3 of the Constitution, it gives us better measures of how we can be able, what we can be able to do to curb these things, either deaths during voting or during that period of election, loss of votes, mismanagement of equipment and such kind of things. So if you read the Constitution, it is well articulated that technology can be used to avert and curb this kind of things so that we can have elections that are credible and at the same time people trusting these particular bodies as vehicles to drive a national agenda.
All right. And the IEBC was actually allocated approximately 44.6 billion Kenyan shillings for the 2022 general elections, and that budget was covered, over 22 million registered voters, translating to an average cost of about 2,017 per voter. Now, one would ask the question: can we trust, in regards to the by-elections that were held last year, can we trust these newly commissioned commissioners, to run the IEBC come 2027?
We don't put trust in people. You see, this is again the mistake that we make. We don't trust the president. We trust the system. We shouldn't trust. It's not that we don't trust. Let me rephrase my words. We shouldn't trust individuals because individuals come and go. We are not here to trust IEBC board. We are not here to trust the president or the MP or the governor or whoever. We are here to trust the system. Kenya has a systemic problem, so that despite whoever that is sitting there, the system tends to create the same type of outcome because of the leader. It's not necessarily who's sitting there, it's the system that they find in operation. So when you look at it from that view, it's not that we are here to trust the commissioners or here to trust ABCD. We are here to say that systems must be put in place that despite what an individual, either the head or the bottom, would like to manipulate, the system itself rejects the person. So it's more of setting up measures that we know we can trust despite who's sitting on those particular offices, because despite the person, the system is still making sure that it can vomit anything that is contrary to what the system actually functions as.
Right, and I've heard you, explaining about rather championing for blockchain technology.
Yes.
When we conduct our elections. Now, can that technology actually eliminate rigging, or does it only change the method?
Now, let us be very categorical about this, and I would like to request the people outside there. I was having a meeting earlier and I made this statement. I'm not here for people to agree with me, because me as a person, I can also be, as a person, if you put your hope, the Bible says, "Cursed is any man that put his trust on another." So we are not here to put our trust in an individual. We are here to face the facts and look at situations as they are, call blue, blue, and yellow, yellow. Let me ask you a question. Looking at what we have, so as I've said, I'm not here for people to agree with me. I'm here for people to agree with the truth. And if what I'm saying is the truth, then you have no reason to reject it. So before you come on board and take this little broadcast and then you form your narrative, take time and study the specific people. We understand that Kenyans have been hurt by leaders. We are not ignorant. I'm a Kenyan, I'm a young man. But we equally understand that if we keep holding on to the past, we will never really get to see the right things that are happening. Now let me say this. We already have the current system of voting. The question we should ask is comparison. What has it produced? Year in, year out. What are the standard things that people keep saying? Number one, votes have been stolen. Number two, deaths have happened. Number three, no trust in the body. So we already have that as an outcome. Here is another system that is supported by Article 1 and Article 81 and 83 of the Constitution that says technology is allowed to be used as part of the ways to create measures that can build within that structure of voting. So I now came up with a system, presented it to the IBC chair, Mr. Erastus, all the commissioners were there. Presented a very solidified system. And I say this now, in comparison with what I've shared, remember, in comparison, look at the comparisons I'm sharing. You said that 2022 elections costed approximately 2017 shillings per voter. The system we are bringing on board is 36 shillings. So just do the math. John Buddy comes out and he says that he needs 61.7 billion over and above the security amount of money that is needed. Fine, we understand. We are here saying that it will take 36 shillings per voter. Do you get what I'm saying? That's one. Let's compare. So already the comparison of 2,000 as opposed to 36 shillings has already eliminated the 2,000 option. Let's come to the second option, which is death. Why people die, right, during election? Because of voter rigging. This system is able to guarantee that votes cannot be rigged. Why? It's built purely on a blockchain platform that rejects any amount of infiltration. Now, people say that, oh, blockchain can be hacked. No, what is on blockchain is what can be hacked, which are things like wallets and things like that. But the system itself, the system has been built on a very solidified point of view. So when you look at it from that point of view, you have reduced the deaths. Why? Because everyone will have trust that if their member has failed, he has failed because he deserves to fail. And if this one has passed, they have passed because they deserve to pass, making sure that people are not going to do what? There is no tribal war, there is no funny kinds of fights that people fight. Let's go to the third thing. Let's take the case of like diaspora votes. Let's assume diaspora votes are 3 million, 2 million, or 4 million. Let's assume the polling station is in New York, right? And someone is working in South Africa. Would you travel from South Africa to Kenya here to vote? It's a very hard chance for you doing. So what does it do? It reduces the voter turnout of people abroad. Here we are saying, as little as your phone, the technology that you have, which is your phone, can be able to help you to vote. I know people are saying, oh, internet. Let me make something, you understand something. Safaricom is not the only way of internet. There are satellite internets that no government can be able to freeze, just in case you don't know. It's just that, unfortunately in Africa, we don't take time to study. Yeah, we are told things on rallies, people on top of cars. Like, for example, you hear a person saying that the president needs members of parliament to pass a bill. It sounds true to some degree until you read Article 1 of the Constitution, then you realize it's totally different. He says that all sovereign power, and I want you to hear me because you two are young people like me. All sovereign power belongs to the people. There are three types of power: executive, legislature, and judiciary. All sovereign power, do you understand? It belongs to the people. So if you have a willing leader and a willing people, all these other things walk over. But the reason why they say that is so that the people will never come up and say, wait, so you mean I have the power with me? They never want people to know that they hold the last say. So they will now make it look as if it has to go through the normal parliament process. No, even if parliament misbehaves, the people have the right to say, we don't want that parliament. The people have a right to say, we don't want that president. The people have a right to say, we don't want that pastor or that bishop, because all sovereign power does what? It belongs to those people. Looking at it from that point of view, you have low cost of finances, you have security, you have now people abroad saying that they're going to use technology to vote, meaning it increases the voter turnout. Do you understand those kind of things? So when you really look at these options that we are trying to drive, the narratives we are trying to drive, unless you just have your own issues where you say that we don't want it to go forward, because I hope you know there are people benefiting during elections. There are people making a lot of money. Importing of ink, importing of papers. I mean, you just think about the Kim's kit, all those kind of things. All these things are import, and it's business for some people. What am I saying? It's better for Kenyans to win over than 2 or 3 individuals. There are so many things we have to say about it. Time can fail me.
All right, and for the benefit of the viewer, I want to ask, what is blockchain technology and why is it a game changer?
Look at it from, let's use the word AI. What is AI and why is it a game changer? AI is a very sophisticated man's technology that is very sophisticated and simplified ways in order for you to get results and answers. For example, I have a friend that I know who is approximately 80, almost 80 or 80 years. He went to the hospital and he was diagnosed by the doctor. And the doctor told him, these are the medicines for you to take. The gentleman at his age, he likes a lot of ChatGPT. So as the doctor is talking, he puts that word on ChatGPT. ChatGPT tells the person, you should not take that drug because it's going to give you this and this condition. So he chooses ChatGPT. Instead, ChatGPT tells him, instead of that, take this and this drug. Today, he's not sick. So I've used that as an illustration to say, what is blockchain? It is a very solidified way of securing data and keeping data for future use. Securing information and keeping the right information for future use. So would a nation use it? Of course the nation should use it. By the way, I would like to say this, because I know the people will say, the last thing, which is an African setting. Which other country has used, why do we need to wait for countries to, who is that country that has to do something in order for Africa to do something? Okay, then that country, who did that country wait for? Then that country, who did that country wait for? So at the end, there has to be someone that began. Do you remember M-Pesa? Who did Kenya learn from? We are the biggest money mobile transfer in the world. So we are leading in something. Who did we learn to run from? Kenyans are runners. Who did they learn? Who went to teach Kenyans? Kipchoge Keino. Who went to teach Kenyans how to run? That now you are Kenyans, come to the US, this is how you run, and then now go back run in your nation. I don't believe in that message. I believe that there will always be Moses, the first person to part the Red Sea. I believe that there will always be the first people to shout and the wall of Jericho will fall. I believe that there will always be the first person called Adam, who existed as man before Adam. There is no one. So there is always a first time to do everything. And if this is our first time, Kenya is well and able to do it.
All right, now Kenya has invested billions in these elections, yet disputes still end up in court. One would ask them the question, where did we go wrong?
In terms of?
In terms of, we do elections, but, they end up in court saying that the elections were actually rigged. And we were actually the winner, but the results from the IBC, states differently. So
not trust and transparency. People don't feel that the electoral bodies are transparent as possible. You will always hear a case. Apart from over and above, I know there are several cases where someone would say their votes have been stolen just because they don't want to lose. That we understand. But above that, the fact that there is no anything that does not build on trust and transparency. In order for you to be trusted, you must be transparent. So there is no transparency and accountability from that platform that people can sit and say, you know what, we don't trust this way of doing things. And because we don't trust this way of doing things, definitely it will bring fight. So what you have done, you have given an opportunity for an enemy of someone to speak against, because from history, times past, this has been the same thing. Now let me ask you, don't you think it's only a fool that does the same thing and expect a different result? So if we keep voting the same way, you have seen that this vote, during voting, these people die. If we do the same thing, people lose. If we do the same thing, are you not a fool to keep doing the same thing? What is the cost of changing over doing the same thing? What do we lose when we do the same thing? We lose lives, we lose money, court cases, we lose time. Now here is a new thing you can do. It's telling you will not lose time, you will not lose money, you will not lose, there will be no death, because there is transparency and there is openness. This is the problem of Kenya. If we deal with it, we have changed the nation.
And will the politicians, willingly accept a system that, removes their ability to manipulate the results?
It doesn't matter. I'm running a campaign. It's called the People Campaign. All sovereign. I want that thing to enter your mind when you live here. All. The word is all. Sovereign power belongs to the people. I wouldn't put my trust on our politicians, especially the current breed of politicians that we have. Of course, you have 2 or 3 of them that are following the law, but you equally know that majority of them. Remember when there was an issue when the president says there are politicians that came and took money and never took it to the people. Remember? Then he said he was going to arrest them just a few months ago. Did he? No. Now let's look at it from this point of view. Do you remember the politician that stood and he says, this president wanted this, we passed it for him. This president wanted this, do you remember that politician? We passed it for him. Since when do politicians pass things for presidents? I thought the politician passes things on behalf of his constituency. So if the president wants something and is not right for your constituency, should you go ahead and pass it? So my point of view is very simple. I'm not putting a lot of trust on members of parliament, though it's a very important docket. I'm putting my trust on the people of Kenya. All sovereign power belongs to the people. So even though you have a member of parliament that doesn't want maendeleo, you have the people that are saying, no, we want maendeleo. I repeat again, there is no power bigger than people's power.
All right, now let's switch gears. We actually saw during the by-elections of 2024, we actually saw leaders from the state actually campaigning for specific leaders. We actually saw Rigathi Gachagua campaigning for Karish in Berenov, and we actually saw Professor Kithure Kindiki campaigning for Leo Modende for actually a week, if not more. Now, one would ask the question: has the narrative changed from the ideologies of the leaders? Because there's no one time that I had Leo Modende say I'll come do this and this and this. Has the ideology changed from the monarchy to the politicians?
You see, it's a normal political thing, and it happens normally when there is room for politicizing issues. Just as you're listening to me, you don't need to love me, but let's just focus on the truth. I heard that approximately 600 million was used to make someone a member of parliament. He only has approximately 2 years in power, approximately, right? So how much is a member of parliament making a month? Approximately 1 million, let's give or take, if you add several things legally. Let me talk about the word legally. So if you do 1 million times 12 is how much? 12 million, right? Times 2 years, that's 24 million. Why would you invest 600 million to make 24 million? Does it make mathematical sense? That brings us to the second option. What is really the role of a member of parliament? Representing a constituency. So it means you need to be in touch with the people, you need to listen to the people, then take their grievances to parliament where bills are passed. Motions are seconded, bills are passed, and things like that. So if you look at it from that point of view, then you realize that first of all, we as Kenyans, we will need to really study. The Bible says study to show yourself approved. We will really need to go back and study, wait, who is a leader? That's number one. What should a leader be telling us in order for us to hear? It's a shame that I see most, if not many African presidents, they say that they speak about Singapore, speak about China, speak about all these superpower nations. Then I want to ask the question to our leaders. Have you ever seen the president of China on top of a car addressing the people? Apart from the military parade, have you ever seen the president of China standing somewhere addressing people? But our presidents here in Africa, they are they address national problems on top of cars. Have you ever seen the Russian president on top of that car, standing here and say, watu wa Nyeri, hivi, and then you hear leaders, mature leaders, huyu anasema, malenge, sijui ya malenge ya supu ya kuku. What are you saying? Then unasikia wanatukana, ati wewe Goliathi. What are you saying? What are you saying? The people that have come to listen to you have no school education, have no bursaries. They don't have food. They don't have a living. And then now these two leaders are on top of 30 million cars, 40 million cars. Kenyans wake up, man. And then they are responding to each other. Then what shocks me, in the night, they sit and talk. Who's left on the line? Me and you, that is ignorant. Who should you have borrowed salt from? Me. And then you want to be tribal. You want to fight me. I want to fight you. It is the most foolish thing. The time is coming. Kenya must look at leadership. Kenyans must first of all study who is a leader, so that when they see one, they're able to identify. And this has nothing to do with kingpins. There is no kingpin in Kenya. Kenya belongs to Kenyans. There is no one person that can say, I'm ruling these people. You're ruling as who? Kenyans have their own brains. Kenyans have their own thoughts. And in due time, it will show.
All right, you spoke about national problems. And we've seen the current situation in the northern eastern region. Drought is there, actually. Around 10 counties in that region are facing drought. And we've actually seen the president actually today started his tour for the Nyota program campaign. Now, from where you sit, is the president's priorities right?
I don't have a problem with Nyota Fund, which other fund? There are several funds. I don't have a problem with those funds. I just think, let me, and by the way, let's not be emotional. Again, leadership, politicians deal with the emotions of people. Leaders deal with facts. Let's deal, Kenyans, dear Kenyans, I know you have taken the 22,000, 24,000 Nyota. I know. There's no problem. That's okay. Let me ask you a question. How much money in total is the Nyota Fund? If you divide that Nyota Fund, let's assume it's 50 billion, 100, I'm giving you an example, 5 billion, 10 billion, let's assume. Then you now say per county. I have a friend of mine that has an avocado billion. Because if you talk about 1 billion is 600. So you are looking at around how many? 6 companies? How many people would have been there? If you do 300 times 6 is how much? That's 1,800 people. Now, if I give you 22,000 shillings in this Kenya, now usikue emotional, remove your emotions here. Let's be factual. This is not about the party you like. This is not about opposition. This is not about, this is about knowledge. If I give you 22,000 in this Kenya, I know to Mama Mboga somewhere to add stock. Fine, we want to add stock. Do you want to add stock or totally change the life of that person? Which one would have been better? To create industries that can be able to build, to make jobs, or to give individuals? Let me ask you a question. Be honest. How many young people took that money and it did something to them?
Actually some say that they can't access the...
They can't access, right? My thought would have been this. There would have been a better mechanism to transmit this money to the people, which is not more of individuals, but more of establishing industries that can be able... Remember, if you give 300 people jobs, how many people have you fed? Think about it. If one person has a family, how many people have you fed? You have fed, let's say a family has 4 people. So 3 times 4, 12. You have automatically fed 1,000 people plus from one company indirectly, because this person is receiving a salary, the child is able to go to school, another one is able to... You get what I'm saying? So if you have like 6, 7, 10 companies and directly, indirectly you have 1,200 people, are you seeing the amount of money that you're making? The government is also making money because there are taxations that the government will be able to put in place. My thought is this: there is a better way to distribute this fund without putting politics or party in it. If you really want to help Kenyans, look at the problem of Kenyans and deliver these resources as the Kenyans would have fit. It is better to create industries rather than giving, and especially young people. Many young people, let's be honest, we don't know how to use money. Let's be honest. Most of those young people are keeping 22,000. Already they have problems of rent. Are they going to invest or are they going to pay rent? Let's be honest. My thought is, let's stop using Nyota Fund and funds like that for political campaigns. Rather, we use them to build and establish a system that can be seen tomorrow.
All right, now let's take a look on the police excesses in regards to the recent attack that happened in ACK Utima Church in there near County, we've actually seen that that's not even actually the first incident where police, it is in the public domain. We actually saw GK vehicles, we actually saw cartridges of live ammunition, we actually saw tear gas canisters. Now, from where you sit, what does that say about the state of the nation?
Misplaced power. We have so many Al-Shabaabs to that power should be channeled to the enemies of Kenya. At the same time, let no leader, either in the opposition or in government, use sympathy to gain mileage. There is no need for you to do that. There is no need for you to throw a canister in the church. If you want to know, dear police, if you want to know where canisters are thrown, just follow us to specific places where you have Al-Shabaabs, you have bad people. There is no need for you to use, in ammunition, there's something called de-escalation. I won't say much, but in de-escalation, it simply means the one that has more power should fight not to show it. You shouldn't trigger people. Let's say you have a gun, and you can clearly see this person is drunk and is abusing you, and you are sober. To use your gun as the first option to defend yourself is wrong. What do? It's called you de-escalate the situation. You would rather pretend to be foolish because you already know you hold the ultimate power. I feel like there are so many leaders with ultimate power, but they channel it to the wrong people. There are so many people to fight, and it is not the church.
And should a place of worship, become a stage for political conflict?
It shouldn't, but it does not mean leadership should not be discussed in church. Because those people in church are feeling the pinch. They are the same people going to hospitals. There is no medicine. They're the same people that are being taxed. They are the same people. So that does not mean that the leadership of a country should not be discussed in the church. Where else should it be discussed? I mean, Christ is a leader. He runs a kingdom. He was asked, are you the king of the Jews? He said, no, but my kingdom is not of this world. He runs a kingdom. He runs an estate. And in that estate, the first opposition leader is Lucifer. He wanted to he wanted to bring a coup in heaven. What did God do? He did not tell him, okay, you take over, let me go and build another heaven. He fought through his angels. So what does it mean? Very possible for that to happen. Leadership should be discussed in church. And my appeal to the body of Christ, raise leaders. Isn't it amazing how you meet a mango tree giving mango fruits and then you're complaining that you wanted bananas? Who's foolish? The one that looks at a mango tree and expects bananas, or the one that looks truly at a mango tree and expects mangoes? So if we raise leaders in these political spaces, then we are able to siphon what is right from what is wrong.
Right. Actually, so the head of state sometime back in 2024 or 2025, they actually said that leaders should cease from giving millions to churches. But yet that again, during the following year, there was a meeting in that. So what's your take on that?
Number one, the Constitution of Kenya is very simple. Yeah. I need to say this for believers to understand. The Constitution of Kenya is not for Christians only. The Constitution of Kenya accommodates atheists that are Kenyans, accommodates Christians that are Kenyans, accommodates Muslims that are Kenyans, accommodates all types of religion. Within the Constitution of Kenya, the government property is public land. Please understand what I'm saying. This public land. So you cannot come and say, I'm a Christian, I'm going to build in that place at all costs. No, what will a Muslim say? What will a Hindu say? Can you imagine how State House would look if everyone would just put their own shrines, others will put shrines, witchcraft will come and say, maybe you meet a president who's a witch, he puts a shrine. You meet a president who's a Christian, he puts a church. You meet a president who's a pastor, who's a Muslim, he puts a mosque. You meet a president who's a Hindu, puts a temple. You meet a president who, Kenya belongs to the public. There are better ways of serving God. So for you to say, and I was very disappointed when the church came out, when the president said that, he wants to build a church. Is it in the Constitution? Because now you are using the emotional appeal of people. And because most believers, they don't study. They'll just come and say, oh, John C.W. is against the church. He's becoming a bad person. We are not against the church. We are for the Constitution. Kenya is not just a Christian nation. There are other people within that Constitution. And the purpose of, you don't run a nation outside its Constitution. So there are churches around. You know how many churches have surrounded State House? Have you ever done an analysis? Go do an analysis of how many churches. There are better ways to run an institution. And if you know if I say this, it's going to create war, don't say it. Now, pastors came out and said, you know what, and I'm a pastor, I hope you know. Pastors came out and said, you know what, all those that are stopping the president from building, they are antichrist. Are you telling me that someone is an antichrist because of a physical building where the Bible says he doesn't live in houses built by the hands of men? He lives in the hearts of people. So use that opportunity to build men. People worship in their hearts. It's no longer about a place. The Bible says a time will come. No one will say we are going here or we are going there to worship. Is it wrong to build a church? No. But when it comes to being a national figure, purpose to follow the Constitution so that you create more awareness to the need of following the Constitution other than creating issues that will begin to make this religion fight this religion. Kenya belongs to Kenyans.
All right, and also take on the regulation of churches. We actually saw, during the escalation of the Shakahola incident, the case is actually in court. The MPs actually came up and said, we need to regulate these churches. What's your take on that?
First, I'm married, not for many years, like around 12, 13 years. So let me give you, because Kenya, when it comes to leadership, the people marry, you have to marry with the leaders. So it's like a marriage. And then you have covenants that are broken. One of the things I realize in marriage, if you want to go this way and your wife wants to go this way, and you all decide I'm going either direction, at the end you'll end up with one thing, and it's called divorce. Have you understood that? When it comes to what is happening in Kenya, looking at it from that point of view you have shared, it's very important for us, especially the church, to understand we should have regularized ourselves before it got there. How did Shakahola happen? The Bible says, Peter, do you love me? Feed my sheep. He didn't tell Pilate, he told Peter. So the responsibility of the church was left to the church. But when you have, I know of a ministry in Kenya called Honey and Breast. Honey and Breast Ministry. Yeah, it's here. Honey and Breast. I know of a minister that came to Nyayo Stadium. Why is it news to you? He came to my stadium and he says the reason why women are not married is because the demon is in the breast. So the pastor must suck the breast to remove the demon here. And someone registered that church. So by the time the matter gets to the government, question is, who should we blame? We should blame ourselves. Before a matter gets outside the house, we should blame the mother because they are shouting, so the people outside there are hearing. We forgot to regularize ourselves. I realize that the problem of the church is as long as it's not your ministry, you will not be involved. A senior pastor will be involved if it's his branch. But now Shakahola has happened. That's not even Shakahola. I've been a missionary in Rwanda for a while. That's genocide. Then they will play games around it, play games. The matter will be in court for 4 years. Something obvious, just like the one that shot, what do you call the gentleman that was selling masks? Boniface. You saw the guy that shot him. He even has the black mark here. He was presented before the court and he said it's not him. So you tell me whether corruption is outside the court system. You can clearly see that's the guy. But when you look at it from that point of view, Kenya, the church in Kenya failed to regulate itself. Now the government has come in. We failed to regulate how we use money. We failed to regulate how we use time. We failed to regulate how we use resources. All those things you can think about. So before we get to the government, the church has failed to regulate itself. If there can be measures, in order for you to start a ministry, you need to meet these certain qualifications. ABCD, ABCD, ABCD. And when we look at it from our point of view, we can clearly tell, truly these qualifications are not biased. I'm not saying you have to go to university and graduate. I mean, we have graduates in Kenya. Look how Kenya looks. We have governors that have graduated. It's not just education that changes a nation, it's morals. Morals are superior to education. So you can be educated, you have 3, 4, 10 degrees, but you lack morals. You lack principles of morals. So Kenya is a moralless generation. And we need to take our nation back to, look what is happening on TikTok. Girls are dancing naked. Parents are drinking in front of their children. In order for you to get, you find a 20-year-old in brothel dead, a girl dead, because they went to sleep with their, what do you call it? Their school principal in order to get grades. All that is an issue. It's not an issue of grades. They are learned, but we lack morals. So if you look at it from that point of view, my appeal to the church, let us regulate ourselves, because if not, I support the government to regulate, because people will continue to be, and I'm a pastor. So what do? Regulate yourselves. Take back the church to yourself and say, you will not be allowed to do fake miracles. You will not be allowed to do ABCD. You will not be allowed to mismanage money. Every money coming from your church, you need to do an audit of what you are doing to use it. Apart from buying cars and houses, change the lives of the people that you pastor. This is my point of view.
All right, now, Ambassador John C.W., even as you wind up, what's your parting shot in regards to the state of the nation, even as we head to 2027?
Revolution. Revolution. We are in a space whereby someone is saying, I've heard people saying, have you ever seen someone going for this amount of time? Have you ever seen this? We are not in 2022, we are not in 2007. We are in an era where people want change. My appeal to leaders, change before it's too late. If you don't, you'll be changed.
All right, thank you so much for making time to speak with EBN TV.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you.
That was Ambassador, Senior Pastor and Bishop John C.W. sharing his insights on the future of elections and the voting systems, the blockchain. Can blockchain actually end rigging? All right. I hope that you grasped something from that particular discussion. My name is Martin Macharia. You've been watching The Insight. This particular episode, we want to wrap it up here. My name is Martin Macharia once again. Do have yourself a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. And as always, let's do this again when God sees you.